You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 1 of Sickening, Typhoid for 2.
Dark times, John.
Okay, we're going to start off with a story, top of the hour, top of the show, that you are absolutely not ready for.
I haven't been ready for a single thing that you have said since walking through my door.
Thank you. It actually really does mean a lot. So this is a story from a person in my life. I am, and you'll find out why, keeping every detail of this person anonymous so I can freely and safely share this information. Okay? This person is a man. Okay? This person recently came back from a bachelor party and has some stories to share from that experience.
God.
I'm very close with this friend of mine. Give me a name so I can just have a name.
I was going to say so many names that would not have worked.
No, it wouldn't have.
John.
It's always John.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so John goes to this bachelor party in New Orleans. And John was at the start kind of just a little surprised to even be invited to the bachelor party. He loves the groom, right? Like, this guy is great. Groom, by the way, heterosexual marriage incoming. So that's crazy. But was a little surprised to be invited. But he was like, hey, cool. Like, this guy's always been like really nice to me. I didn't realize we were on that level. But yeah, absolutely. I'll go. I don't know anyone else who's going to go, but I'll go.
That's
and then
crazy decision.
Mm-hmm, and then fuck. Okay, we're going to cut that. But now you know.
Okay.
And John, before he flies out to New Orleans, John is given instructions that the theme of this bachelor party is that bachelors can have fun too, or bachelors can be bachelorettes or something. So you're
already disgusting, by the way.
Except the instructions to that mean they all have to fly into New Orleans with a sash. Like, they don't have to be wearing it, but they have to come with like
have one,
right? Like that bridesmaids parties and bachelor parties have, and then also wigs. And the plan is to wear those publicly. Let me tell you this from our friend John. Not who he is.
Yeah, I can see that.
Down with that. Down with that energy 100%. Yeah. John just isn't loud with his life like that, you know?
I can't see him learning how to wear a wig.
Right. The thing about John, and you'll get to know, if you'll know this about John, if you know who I'm talking about right now, John would absolutely want you to wear a wig if that's how you felt most comfortable. Would just like, and would defend your right to it and would not make weird, like would be complimentary about it. John's a good dude. John just never worn a wig his entire life. Yeah. So now John needs to find a wig and a sash, and that's very funny. He lands down in New Orleans.
Is John heterosexual?
John is heterosexual. Okay. Good for our listeners. Yeah. John lands down in New Orleans for this apparently heterosexual only party. And the third guests they meet are the groom's former girlfriend.
No.
Because they're still friends.
Straight to jail.
Right. And at one point, they get
straight
super drunk
jail.
and they just crash out in the same bed together.
No!
And even to be clear, this was not John who crashed in the bed.
Yes.
It was groom and female ex-girlfriend, now friend, who's on the bachelor party, crashed in the same bed. Fully clothed, but
Who called the bride? Who called them?
Meanwhile, people are showing up, and John's thinking it's going to be like a classic bachelor party. There's like huge cases of gross beer in every corner, right? Yep. And a handful of people are walking in just so cooked, they're done, you know? Like, they are high as kites, which I'm pretty sure is a felony they'll execute you for in the state of Louisiana. So that's brave. That's brave. That's bold. That's beautiful. And then John is meeting all these other people from the groom's life. And he's learning all sorts of different stories. And it's a wild time. The groom gets too drunk one night and they have to like bring him back home and he's all apologetic. And all of these stories are crazy. And I can't really remember all of the stories, but each one kind of just felt increasingly unhinged. But the reason why I can't remember all of the stories is because of one story in particular that John told me afterwards, which is that apparently years earlier, the groom had slept with a woman who had previously slept with his dad.
I was not Daddy!
No, I know. No, I know. Listen, when John called me with the story, I was in a world market. I had to say, hold on, let me put down my caramel corn
You have
popcorn.
the
I went
weirdest,
back. I went back. I had caramel corn popcorn, my French soda, my Belgian chocolate.
Yes.
I got to go outside like I'm smoking. Okay, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Tell me everything.
Because if it was the other way around, interesting.
Right.
It could be a romance
Right.
novel. That is a trope.
Right.
Backwards?
Yep.
There's no way that's better.
No. Also, it doesn't help that the groom, very weird relationship with his family at all times. Weird relationship with his family.
Wow, I wonder why.
So John kind of dazzled me with all these stories, and it was hard to share them because how do I confidentially share any of this information in a way?
Yeah.
I feel like I've approached it. Here's the thing. I talked to John again last week, right?
Yeah.
Just chatting as we do. And John was like, I know you have a podcast. Have you shared the story on the podcast? I would love to know about it. And I was like, John, I'd actually forgotten because the information you gave me felt like
so
felt like heart secrets.
Yes.
Kind of felt like I was supposed to,
Keep
catch a
that
falling
forever.
star and put it in my pocket.
That's only shared over whispers and a glass of wine, like.
No, I'm not joking. When John told me the story originally outside the World Market, I'm like pissing and crying myself. Like I am.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me. And now I want one of our friends to get married again.
Again.
So that was, a lot of information just hit you right now.
That's crazy. I have so many thoughts. Okay. I have a very close friend. Give me a female name.
Ooh, let's go Jane.
Jane. Nice. Jane.
Last name Doe.
Yeah. As you know. Address 123 Smith Street.
Exactly.
Jane just got broken up with.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And fully, I think, crashed out for the first few days.
Respectable.
I met up with Jane last night to like really girl about it.
Right. Right.
And Jane is anxious attachment style.
Mm-hmm. Well, who isn't these days?
And her partner, give me a guy name.
Brandon.
Brandon, avoidant attachment style. Those are some of the first words out of her mouth, and I say, oh, okay, I see. I see where
it's never going to work
where
out.
this maybe
Plus,
started.
one of you's a Gemini,
to
so
go.
like...
Jane was starting to talk, and apparently she was like relatively blindsided. And fucking white straight men really will do anything but look inside, Jane was like, every time we had a serious conversation about our relationship, I'm the one that initiated it. Like, he never gave me any validation at all. And like, I was always like, if he had a hard day, like I would cook for him. Like I was like making sure that like he felt secure in this relationship. And he never really did any of that for me.
Because Brandon's shopping for a mom, not a girlfriend.
Brandon, when he came over, he came over and was like...
While you were with Jane?
No.
Oh, okay.
This was when they broke up. He came over and was like, hey, can I come over? And she immediately got bad vibes from the question. And
instant bad vibes.
Yeah, I got that. And she was like, well, he said that before. Like, that's sometimes just like what he'll say, and then he'll come over and spend the night. And it's usually fine. But because of stuff that had been going on, like the weekend prior or something, she was like, I don't... Like, something feels weird here. And so she asked him, like, Brandon, is this something like bad? And he was like, no, I'm just coming to hang out. And then he comes over and he doesn't have his bag of stuff because he usually spends the night. And she's like, what's going on? And he was like, oh, I just forgot it. And then he like gives her a really long hug.
He's the avoidant one?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like even right up to the breakup, he is being avoidant. And then he's like, what does he say? Oh, he starts talking about how like, I'm just really searching for that deep connection that can't be built. Bitch, what the fuck does that mean?
No, here's the thing. I get what he's saying, and never say that out loud.
Avoid an attachment.
No. You can be like, I don't think it's working out, but you can never say there's nothing you could have done to save this. Like, you're just like, I think we're at different places in our lives.
Yeah,
I don't
anything.
know. Right.
Anything. He's saying that
you didn't fill that one deep well inside of me.
And she started like prodding and was like, have you ever felt that? Because her point was like, you never tried.
Right.
Like you never, if that's actually like what's going on, this is fixable. because we can work on this.
Right.
But he was like, tap out. And so she was like, have you ever felt this with anyone? And he was like, yes, the girlfriend that I had in high school.
Jane's your age, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at a good decade since they were in high school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's older than me by a year. Brandon is.
Okay. So it's really penciling out to over a decade.
So he's really just that guy that's like, I could have gone pro if it weren't for the ACL.
He literally peaked. Yeah, that's actually so embarrassing.
Peaked.
Yeah.
And then
everyone knows you have your devastating heartbreak when you're 28. Like, that's the appropriate time to have it.
Well, he was 28. He is 28.
Is he Jane's devastating heartbreak?
I think Jane has been in several long-term relationships before this. I think this is the first one that has like kind of wrecked her. I think she has been usually the one initiating the breakup previously. So she's crashing out a little bit. I mean, she's getting through it though.
If Jane is who I think Jane is such a gem. And so, like, she gets this time to spend it with a really cool person, her. And when she's ready, she has time to share that.
I was
really
like,
cool
you're in your eat, pray, love era.
No, for real.
Like, you are in your loving yourself era. And she was like, yeah, I spent. So she was really, like, thrown off by this breakup to the point where, like, the apartment she's living in, she's lived in only, like since she's been dating this guy. And so, like, everything in her apartment was reminding her of him. And so she bought, like, all new, like, sheets and, like, art for her room because she was sleeping on the couch for a couple days because she, like, literally could not sleep in her own bedroom. And I was like, treat yourself, girl.
Yes.
Like, yeah, absolutely. Take care of you.
Like, you can donate all that stuff. Like, there's so many good organizations
bring it back
that would take it.
when we're in the fuck Brandon era, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, incredible.
Because here's the thing. Jane, I'm rooting for you. All of our listeners are rooting for you. That's so identifiable. I think there's like this romanticization of breakups when you're not in a breakup. You're just like, oh, and it's like bad poetry and my notes app and just like every kind of junk food I want. But when you're in it, you're like, the world means nothing to me anymore. And I think if Jane, again, is who I think it is, I think Jane is about to get shredded in a way that
she is.
She's
about to get a revenge bot. And she already has a revenge bot, if I'm being honest.
When I experience pain like this, I get revenge recipes. I cook up a motherfucking storm.
And honestly,
you know?
that might bring me back.
I cook for a family of 12 and I'm like, well, I don't want to eat any of this anymore. So good.
There's something else.
We have both off air and on air covered such a spectrum of
such
stories.
Ground, right?
Crazy
Being
on that spectrum.
And some people don't be acknowledging that they're on a spectrum. You know.
I'm gonna look at my notes app real quick to make sure I have, because there were so many headlines. I'm afraid I might have missed some.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, this will be perfect.
Okay.
So, we were up in the mountains this weekend. Yes. Maya and Casey had stuff in the city, so they couldn't join us. But a big, good core chunk of us were up in the mountains. And Jacob and Lydia were talking to, who were they talking to? I think Jacob's brother. And it was like kind of this like complex concept of what they were trying to like do next with their house. Yeah. And they needed to just kind of break it down to Jacob's brother. Okay. And the term is usually, we have to put it in layman's terms, right?
Sure.
So Lydia said, we got to put it down in layman's terms. One more mortgage creates a mountain. Like, I'm like, what? Just one break.
Damn it, I wish I was there. There's so many good bits.
I legitimately was like, Maia would have loved a legitimately delicious reference.
So funny. One mortgage more.
One renter more. Another car, another equity, another capital to invest. Like, we could write it. We could absolutely.
Another A-frame to build. Like, what? I'm obsessed with her.
I dreamed a dream of 2.8% APR.
Yeah, that's
when
the
life
real.
was good and life worth living.
And we were all in lockdown.
I dreamed my mortgage would never rise.
So real. We could write this musical.
No drink undrank, no snack untasted.
How? How are you doing this?
Just I had a little bit more time with the content than you did.
know.
You're finding out
my
right
God.
here and there.
That's so funny.
Because then they were like,
Mis.
someone was like, doesn't Maia love Les Mis? And I'm actively in my notes app and I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, no, Maia loves this.
she'll find out.
And then I pause and I go, but who really loves it is Maddie.
Yeah.
Maddie's going to love it.
Yes. Oh my God, I need to tell her.
And so I just, in my notes app, just have the phrase in Les Mis terms.
I need to.
But maybe it needs to become like a recurring bit.
I think it does.
It's moments like this where I actually do hear my dad's voice in my head.
When you're singing Les Mis, but
No.
mortgage version.
No, that's my mom.
Yeah. That's fair.
Mom manages the money. To the point where actually it was a joke once, and I think we got this solved. Or dad was like, "Hey kids, I just want you to know, like if something tragic were to happen to mom, I don't know how to get into the bank account."
I was talking to my aunt Lori. She basically said the same thing. She was like, I have no idea how to get into any accounts. If Jack goes and his assistant go at the same time, that money's gone.
And that's why I never let them both ride in a helicopter.
Yeah. So funny.
No, and then the other thing my dad was like, Teresa, if you ask State Farm to make one more deduction from my paycheck, I will have to write them a check to work there. That was years ago when they had kids and like college funds and mortgage. Anyways, the voice in my dad's voice in my head is when he's trying to explain to his friends back in Lincoln, Nebraska, who are now all golfers and confused as to why the man who they voted for, who put on tariffs, has somehow put on tariffs.
Shocking.
And my dad just doesn't have the capacity to explain that to them anymore. So he's speaking to that population of people. He just goes, Grant's just having too much fun in Denver. Sorry, not to like make this a Greg appreciation post for a second, but last thing, someone, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. We get a lot of messages, but like, I'm sorry, I should have written your name down. Someone sent a post to the Instagram.
Yeah.
And it was like, ask men in your life, like, who's a female singer they appreciate? Who's a female novelist they read? Like, ask
Greg
the men in your
would
life.
have some answers.
Right.
Avril Lavigne.
Right. That's
Done.
exactly what they said. They messaged and they were like, thinking of your dad and his love of Avril Lavigne. And I was like, my dad also loves like Taylor Tomlinson, like the comedian.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, and also Pink. Wait, my dad's kind of been a real one.
Yeah, real feminist from the get-go.
And the funny thing too is, and you have permission to pause this, especially if you're listening on Spotify, to go listen to this. My dad's favorite Pink song is Handful of Glitter in the Air, which is the saddest, most sentimental song possible.
Oh, fucking funny.
Greg's a classic.
I'm just imagining your dad like sitting in his lazy boy or whatever equivalent.
Oh no,
I know he's not allowed to have one.
It's a big red truck.
Big
when
red
he's
truck. Oh,
listening
big
to
red
this.
truck, and he's just like kind of crying. You know.
Have you ever thrown a handful of glitter in the air?
I don't know that song well enough to sing with you.
That's the core
Yeah.
lyric to it. And it's just, listen, they don't make them like Greg anymore.
They don't make him like Pink anymore.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone can fly, but can you be pink when you're flying? I have more
more thoughts on that, but we'll get to that later.
They don't make him like Greg anymore, but also they didn't make him like Greg before either.
That's fair.
He's a blip.
Yeah.
He's the potato that kind of looks like a president's face, you know? Special.
Toast with Jesus on it. Yeah. I know
Love you,
exactly
Dad.
what you're talking about.
My dad messaged me today, did I miss a FaceTime call from you? And I was like, did my dad learn passive aggressiveness or did I accidentally FaceTime
him. Which one is more likely?
That's exactly.
Oh my God.
So anyways, across the board, it's great.
No, I just need to say this about Pink because now it's on my head. Pink and Bishop Briggs and probably others. These are just the two that I've seen. They train like athletes for their tours. I don't know if anyone else has seen this video, but Pink, when you're singing and you're belting like she does, you need a lot of like core support. That Pink has fucking
and she's like somersaulting through the air.
Like full on like acrobatic Cirque du Soleil while she's still belting. She was doing an interview and she was doing to show off her like core strength. She laid on the ground and had a reporter literally stand on her stomach and she's like holding this like hollow hold position and she's still singing in like the
gorgeous.
I'm like fucking incredible, bitch.
Aged so well.
Aged incredibly.
Also, if we were to ever hit that level of success, right?
Yeah.
One in a trillion.
Yeah.
I am going to be telling a story as I just shoot around the stadium. Because you've seen me at parties. I kind of love to get a feel for the room.
just want to get really in someone's face.
I start spinning, but I don't know how to stop.
Yeah.
They have to lower me really slowly, and you're like, oh, easy. Stop kicking.
Okay, I'm now seeing Fat Amy, though, in Pitch Perfect when her costume rips in front of the president.
That's so clever of you. I'm so glad you shared.
I know. You are bald. I don't know if you knew that.
This is groundbreaking comedy. Yeah. We should say this to all of our friends.
We should tell everyone exactly what their hair is like. God.
Oh, I really appreciate us. Also, I saw her like 4 days ago. If you're like, why has there been such a break?
There's been a lot happening between then.
It's so funny because it's fall. Like it's whatever fall does to our friend group, because we all legitimately with our careers.
We see each other so much more in the fall.
Yes.
And in the spring, honestly.
I actually think it's funny because I think fall and spring is really when our group takes our careers seriously.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of naturally in the city more.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Yeah, in the summer, we're like, well, Grant's on summer break, so I'm on summer break.
I'm chiming in from 2 a.m. from an island. Hi, guys. So sorry I'm 8 days late to this. So funny. Ha, 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 ha. Exclamation point, reaction, heart reaction. Gone for the other 10 days.
It's actually so infuriating, guys. I run a small business with that.
Hey,
awful.
At least this time I did not go fully off grid after Grant's pass like I did last summer.
Yeah, that one was actually awful. I was like, I'm going to send these texts and I'm going to keep retrying sending these texts because maybe he has one bar.
Come in, please. Are you there?
I don't even need you to respond. I just need you to see the text.
So no, good stuff. We're just having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As Greg would say.
Too much fun in the city.
Too much fun in the city.
Too much fun.
We're city girls.
Yeah.
I think I have one final quick little 30-second story before we jump into the main episode. So last year, 2 of my students signed me up for the website. Sorry, I just saw a pair of scissors and 2 tennis balls on your screen.
I have a friend that's getting top surgery, and that's what that means.
Hell yeah. Okay. Because there was one other thing I thought was maybe happening, and I was just had questions.
Not neutering.
Great. Okay. What was the story? Right. Okay. Last year, I had students use my school email to sign me up for JDate, like the online dating platform if you are looking to date a Jewish person.
Yeah.
And how funny. I got one like activation email, and I was like, I don't want to be a part of JDate. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like nothing against it, but I'm just not going to use a profile my students have access to. That's crazy. I also don't know if it's targeted to I don't know any of that, whatever, right?
Yeah,
I'm fully just pulling out of the conversation. This year, they have signed me up for Farmers Only.
That's actually so funny.
And yeah, well, especially when you find out that Farmers Only is actually a lot more aggressive when it comes to its emails than JDate.
JDate was like, hey.
Take it or leave it, you know?
You want it?
Farmers Only is like, complete your profile. You got to give me your profile. We have 128 singles around you if you complete your profile.
Which is crazy because we're in the middle of a city.
No, I know. To the point where I'm like, did they choose photos from me? Like, like to the point now.
Photos?
Right. It was the point of me now where I'm like, there's one thing about like just like sending in your email and having to activate the account. But obviously, because I don't know how Farmers Only works, is that like you can verify your email later? And if so, I am morbidly curious as to what my Farmers Only profile looks like. I can't communicate that interest to them though.
No, God forbid.
That's inviting the vampire inside the house.
Yes, yeah, that is 100% saying that that's okay, and they're gonna start like signing you up for.
Right. But you
yeah.
You understand where that curiosity comes from.
I do, and I'm also wondering how easy it is to access farmersonly.com. Like, I would obviously tell Casey before I signed him up for farmersonly.com.
Casey would be part of it.
Just so that I could find you.
Right. No, of course, absolutely.
I want to know what pictures they chose.
Hey, if you're listening and you're interested, just go ahead and find me on Instagram.
Don't waste your time with Farmers Only.
And if I ever taught you, need not apply.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We ready for the main story?
I'm ready.
I'm so excited for this story. Really.
I am,
You're nervous.
Yeah, I am. With a theme like Sickening. Also, next week's theme, or not next week, next theme is red-handed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm very excited about that story.
I'm just gonna grab my Gardner Museum episodes and just kind of run them back again.
Don't you
I'm
fucking
kidding.
dare!
You know I wouldn't.
I would kill you.
All right, chapter 1.
Oh.
It's an almost murder mystery.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And I still don't like that the theme is sickening.
Yeah. On August 27th, 1906, the daughter of Charles Henry Warren, a New York banker, fell sick at the family's rented summer house in Oyster Bay, Long Island.
Sorry, 1906?
1906.
Okay.
At their summer house in Oyster Bay, Long Island. For the first few days, the illness was deceptively mild. Then the doctor began to note alarming symptoms. A high fever, a low pulse, nosebleeds, nausea, diarrhea. A rose-colored rash appeared on the girl's stomach, which was slightly distended and sensitive to any pressure. The syndrome was classic. The girl had typhoid fever.
Oh.
One of the most contagious of communicable diseases. At the turn of the century, thousands of people were stricken with typhoid epidemics, and nearly 23,000 people died in the U.S. from typhoid in the year 1906 alone.
Oh, my God.
That number again was 23,000.
Yeah.
Within the same week that the girl became ill, 5 more persons in the households, including Warren's wife, were also stricken with typhoid. Experts were brought in to investigate the outbreak and concluded it was due to contagion from the daughter. However, they could not pinpoint the source of the original infection, but said she had probably contracted the disease from contaminated water or milk, or perhaps spoiled food.
Okay.
An old woman had been selling oysters down at the beach.
A witch!
And she was suspected of having spread the disease.
Oh, my gosh.
However, there were no other instances of typhoid in Oyster Bay, either before or after this outbreak. So it wasn't the old woman.
Oh.
The outbreak might have gone completely forgotten had it not been for George Thompson, the owner of the house, who was now concerned that it would be impossible to rent out the house next summer if it was connected to an unresolved case of typhoid. So he asked George Soper, a sanitary engineer in New York City Department of Health, to investigate the matter. Do you have a guess yet?
No.
Okay.
And we're sure it's typhoid. Like, it's absolutely typhoid.
Last paragraph before the big reveal.
Okay.
George Soper, the sanitation engineer, reopened immediately the investigation and noted that the cook of the house had recently fled after the outbreak began. Further digging into the woman's employment history had her working at a string of locations that had all experienced typhoid. The cook, however, had disappeared into the urban jungle that is New York City in 1906. Soper would have to find this cook and see if she was something brand new to the world of medical science. A silent carrier of the disease of typhoid.
No.
A person who was contagious but showed no symptoms.
Okay.
George Soper was given the chef's name, one Miss Mary Mallon. History will come to know her as Typhoid Mary.
Oh, I know nothing about this story, but I do know that or recognize that name.
In a really weird way, like in a really weird string of events, Tyler worked for half the day from my house.
Yeah.
And so when I got back from the mountains today, he was there and I was talking about finishing up the story. And I was like, do you know anything about Typhoid Mary? And he was like, no. And I was like, good, perfect,
I'm
amazing.
going to tell you everything. Yeah.
It was just kind of my general barometer for does the general public know anything about Typhoid Mary?
Is this how we figured out recessive, not recessive genes, but how you can be a carrier for things?
We're going to hit on all sorts of stuff. But yes,
I thought she was poisoning them for sure.
Right. And I wrote it that way for a reason.
Okay.
Even chaptered it an almost murder mystery because no one in the Warren house dies from typhoid, but people in the earlier houses will die of typhoid.
Wait, what? Sorry, who died that we just... heard about.
It's called an almost murder mystery.
Oh, so they didn't die. None of the 5 people died.
Right. Because typhoid at the time carried a fatality rate of like 10 to 20%.
Oh, okay.
Which was significant, but that was lower if you had resources like that of a banker.
Right. So they didn't die.
Correct.
But other people had died.
It also helped that the thing that was causing their typhoid was not the well they kept drawing water from, but the cook that then immediately left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't keep getting exposed
Correct.
to it.
But people at previous places Mary Mallon had worked had gotten typhoid. And you'll find out later why I call her Mary and Mary Mallon and don't use the name Typhoid Mary.
Yeah, probably because
she doesn't like it.
All kinds of reasons. Yeah, that adds up.
But honestly, if you feel like you know anything about Typhoid Mary, like I thought I did when I first started doing some digging into this, but it's like, and I think you've experienced this too, where you're like, this is a person I feel like I know things about, but as I actually sit with what I think I know about this person, things aren't adding up. Like I'm missing some puzzle pieces here, and then you dive into them, and sometimes you're like, oh no, they were awful.
Right. That's right. Okay, yeah, cool.
But sometimes they're a misunderstood female author. No, not Mary, but still, in many ways, still misunderstood.
I was like, and she wrote a book, I assume. The girl mentioned a check. It's that time of year again.
Who needs to wash their hands? My journey through the New York Medical Center facility.
Well, you see, yeah, here, we need to find where the typhoid came from.
Let me touch your face so I can really kind of get you. And yeah, correct. No, for reals, if you are sensitive to unsanitary conditions, at no point am I going to graphically describe anything to you, so you can rest easy there. But if even the concept of like dirty hands working with foods upsets you, like maybe not the episode for you. But it's not like no part of this is overly graphic.
Perfect. Incredible.
At one point, I do describe part of the disease as rampaging, and that's probably about as graphic as it gets. You'll see when we get,
rampaging?
Yeah, it's something you don't want rampaging. So we'll see when we get there.
There's a lot of things I don't want rampaging.
Stay
Men
with
being
us.
at the top of that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen.
Chapter 2.
Okay.
A disease by another name. Filth. Medical science had only recently discovered the probable cause of disease. Germs.
Wow.
Like, they literally called it germ theory. It was proposed in 1865 and then again in 1885. And while most medical professionals were now largely in agreement that germs are what caused illness, there was still a lot of confusion as to how did germs spread? How do you manage and kill germs? Y'all, the year is 1906.
I'm just sorry.
We have photos from this era.
It's just like, imagine.
Yeah,
if we had today's Republican Party at that time, we would have never made it where we are today.
That's actually,
we all might have died.
That's so interesting. We're going to talk about, you're hitting on a lot of really big, broad strokes, which makes me feel good as an educator. It's like I've really nailed down the parameters of the story. Like the people of 1906, that generation of people raised my grandmother. So whatever conventional wisdom your grandparents might have taught you, just think, where'd they get it from, Because these people weren't entirely sure if hand washing prevented the spread of disease.
I didn't really have a grandparents to teach me those things. So so give me an example of what that is.
It's honestly best to use lard when you're frying something. Which actually is true if you want taste, but certainly not
health wise. Okay.
Okay. You with me?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So they literally had this thing called germ theory.
Yeah.
But the issue with germ theory is that germ theory was very similar in many practices to the larger held belief at the time that filth caused disease. So an unswept floor, for instance, might cause disease. Dishes in the sink might cause disease.
Right.
There's actually a really wonderful example of this. They discovered people with tuberculosis were a lot less likely to pass it on to others and might even recover if they were kind of outside. So you build a bunch of covered decks.
Yeah.
That's because those of us who went through COVID know it's harder for it to travel through the air.
Transmit.
And there's also the sun's rays do a little bit to impact the transmission as well, but it's mainly just airflow, right?
Vitamin D also certainly helps.
Right. They didn't know why, but they were just like, this is kind of something that works. And so
it's
they
also
were like,
at some point they were like, no, really, if we bloodlet you, it'll solve everything.
exactly. I'm now also experiencing that moment where I just want to spiral into this topic, but I wrote it specifically for a reason so I could hit you with the facts and details in the order I want to present them to the jury. And
I'm sorry, you wrote in an order you want to write?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And then read. Because there's an outline and then whatever.
Half the time I read Grant's notes and I'm like, he never said those words.
No.
Not in that order.
Sometimes they're really pretty words too, which is too bad. R.I.P. But anyways, read the notes if you want to. Like, okay, for instance, here's how new germ theory is. They don't even have the word for typhoid until 25 years before Typhoid Mary occurs. Like those events. Like, for instance, Mary at the time of her accusations, Mary is older than the term typhoid.
Wow. That's wild.
Until recently, typhoid was nearly indistinguishable. Sorry, let me say that again. Until recently, and recently there being 1906, not 2025.
That is a really good distinction.
Until like as recent as 1906, typhoid was nearly indistinguishable from other diseases like typhus and tuberculosis because drawing distinctions rarely mattered. For the vast majority of humans in history, once contracted, death was quick and also almost certain. So what does it matter what's causing it when there's no breaks for any of it? Typhoid was still horrific and deadly. In the 1900s, 10 to 20% of people who contracted the disease would die from it. Symptoms included very high fevers, rashes, pneumonia, and as one source put it, rampaging diarrhea.
Ooh, that is not something you want, rampaging.
And then ironically, the thing that would help prevent the spread of typhoid is also what helps spread it in the first place.
Oh.
Water. Proper washing of your hands with soap and hot water is a phenomenal way to stop the transmission of typhoid. Much like proper skincare helps reduce the presence of lice and helps prevent typhus from spreading, right?
Yeah.
Wounds that get washed and then packed when sanitized are less likely to like develop infection.
Yeah.
So water, which is a crucial part of all of that, is the proper cure for it. But the issue was
not cure, but prevention.
Right, prevention. Or like if you are going to try to treat these people, you need to have done these things for your treatments to work. The issue was Europeans and Americans kind of rightly understood water to actually being the carrier of diseases.
Yeah.
For instance, our founding fathers, some of them, proudly proclaimed to have washed once per year.
Bitch, no.
I know, right?
I knew there was a reason Benjamin Franklin had syphilis.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
For hoity-toity New Yorkers, the sign of true opulence was the Sunday bath.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Which is actually also, I think, really interesting because it's 1906 right now.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, I don't really think I need to wash all that much. But like in 30 years during the Great Depression, even poor families will work to keep themselves clean. Because in 30 years, public health officials will do so much educating on helping stop the spread of disease. But at the time of Typhoid Mary, like that's still kind of an emerging science. And even if you do believe in it, it's not like clean water is accessible to everybody.
Right.
For the record, like I understand clean water isn't accessible to people now. Like Flint, Michigan still exists. But like that's really hard to come by in America at the time. What did I write? Great. One has to imagine that any water source near populated areas at the time was polluted with all kinds of pollutants, most notably human feces. In fact, polluted wells from improperly maintained septic tanks or just from people throwing their waste out of windows for it to then drain down the gutters and alleyways. That waste almost always poisoned local wells that neighbors and like neighborhoods in New York City would use to provide water for like the entire neighborhood. So, for instance, there'd be like a well in the middle of the street that everyone would go to gather water. And when that well got poisoned, it would then spread things like typhoid to entire blocks of the city.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So you can see why water isn't necessarily perceived as a good thing because they don't understand like the cyclical nature of like disease.
Yeah, yeah.
But water is in many ways viewed as dirty. But then also, this also is impacting urban communities a lot more than rural communities because rural communities are a lot more likely to have like free flowing water, like a river or even like a lake.
And also
that
just like
cycles
more
through.
spread out, right? So like less people per well.
Correct.
Basically.
There's still a chance that you were maybe disposing of your garden, that you're maybe disposing of your human waste in your garden, which was right next to your well to help prevent like a long walk for watering purposes. Right. But by and large, yes, like it was easier when you have a lot of space to separate waste and water.
Yeah.
And so that feeds into this perception that cities were dirty, which they were, but not because cities were inherently dirty, but because there wasn't any proper waste management systems.
Right.
The fear of water for centuries helped spawn poor European and American hygiene trends, but then that also then reflected in fashion, including things like incredibly high socks, extensive wigs to help hide hair thinning from things like syphilis, excessive caked on makeup to help cover the dirt that you were showing, but also any potential blemishes from like a soiled and over oily skin. And as my book put it, because I read a book called Typhoid Mary, an urban historical tale. Quote, "It is no shock that the perfume industry was born in France."
Wait, that's so funny.
And also very gross.
That's such a good burn. So funny.
I feel like I'm kind of beating a dead horse here a little bit, but listener, I'm just trying to make sure it's super clear to you that when you start to hear some of the details of this case around Typhoid Mary, it's going to be incredibly obvious to us, like where things go wrong.
Yeah.
Right. It's actually some of the things that are so obvious to us today are actually counterintuitive to what people at the time rightfully believed, right? Like in many ways, medical experts were actually ahead of the infrastructure they had to address these issues.
Right.
I'm also trying to hit that a little bit because we all have viewed Typhoid Mary as this malicious supervillain who like spread typhoid without a care for like who it impacted.
Yeah.
Like she worked at the Warrens' home after having been in 7 homes prior that had typhoid. Right. At a certain point, when is it you? Like, I understand men never ask that question, but Mary's a woman.
Literally never ask that question. And also, like, in Mary's position, she's probably not in a place to not work. And she only has the experience to be a cook. And so then what do you do?
Oh, man, are we going to get there?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, man, we're going to get there. But I'll also say this. In reading the story, I ultimately felt very, very good about my own food safety handling things. Now, I will eat a casserole that's been on the counter for 12 hours. Like, you can't stop me. Like, that's my God-given right. Like, these colors don't run.
Yeah, no, 120%.
But other than that, I feel like I keep a decent job of keeping the
Tyler
kitchen
has
clean.
taught me that Best Buy dates are suggestions. So
a little bit of bacteria in the stomach ultimately makes you stronger.
And also, if it smells fine, it is fine.
And there's nothing more slimming than a stomach bug.
All right. All right.
Just horrific advice.
No one
Start
take
to
that
finish.
advice.
Duh. Imagine taking...
We all have healthy relationships with food in this house, kind of.
Taking dieting advice from me, like for reals. Like,
I don't know. Some
where
people
are you
were
setting
like,
that compass?
yeah, I mean, like, but how do I say that I have an NDA? So,
oh, wait,
yeah.
that's so true. We were in Fortune magazine. That's still so funny to me.
Yeah, because you gave bad advice.
Yes, but also gave no advice. What I gave was a punchline.
And some people did not process that.
When we were still shooting this podcast, like basically on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Yeah, so true.
Okay. So poisoned wells and improperly maintained infrastructure in urban neighborhoods led to this belief that disease was caused by dirty people, right? And that's horrific and classist, but also people are looking for like, where is disease and what do those things have in common? And what they were seeing, what they had in common were these neighborhoods were almost always overcrowded. They were overcrowded because they were full of recent immigrants. These recent immigrants had very little means. They had maybe even less time, given the working conditions
They're
at
grouping
the time.
with people that are familiar to them.
They have almost no physical space. Indoor bathrooms are a luxury you rarely see in middle class homes.
Is this around the era of tenement housing?
It's the era of it. You couldn't basically have created a better breeding ground for disease. But because germ theory is still so new, what does it get slapped on? It gets slapped on those people. Those people get diseased.
Because it's never the upper class.
Correct. There's
GOP.
There's a time, because what distinguishes me from them? It's money, but it's never that. So let's not talk about that. Let's
Skin
talk about
color
other
a little
things.
bit, probably, I think.
For sure, definitely a little bit. How long I've been in America, that's a huge thing. But it's
Are
also...
they here legally?
Right, exactly. Well, and let's go ahead and talk about the moving target legally means in this situation. But also, I think I'm a better Christian than them. And I think that's why I'm not getting
bald
sick.
gay man.
I know, right? But it's like, I believe truthfully that I'm morally clean.
Yeah.
And that's
therefore
why,
I'm not getting leprosy.
Correct. And I'm morally clean. And you can then see that moral cleanliness in the fact that I wear all white, which reflects that I don't exist around filth, because it's a moral priority for me not to live around filth. Never mind the fact that I have people whose job it is to clean my home and I don't have a job. Or if I do, my husband has a job or I work a job and there's servants at home that's cleaning for things.
Dream.
We have time, we have money, and we have people who are going to do these things for us. Disregard those things. It's a reflection of my moral character. I'm a clean person, and people who get sick are filthy.
And it's their fault.
Correct.
For not being clean.
So you can see where germ theory kind of shoots like an arrow through all of that, where it's like some of this is true, but the parts that you're using to boost your own ego, those aren't true. And the parts that are boosting your own ego that are true are also a sign that like this state is failing and we need to like help these people, right? And so
God forbid.
Even in the areas that you are right in, there is a moral obligation to do better by these people.
It's just crazy to me that some people can look at history and don't see that it is a constant battle of humanity to better themselves.
I caught like halfway through your sentence what you were building up to. Bitch. No, and I would 100% agree with what you're saying. Maia. I think that's a really interesting way to perceive history. I think it's a correct way to perceive history. Is this idea that, because ultimately will happen, and it's not going to be a majority of these wealthy New Yorkers, but it will be enough of them. Yeah. They will found societies that advocates for this stuff. Yeah. And then they will, on a micro level, put some of these things into practice that will then prove to be successful, and that will then become like passed by the state. They will become systems and institutions, and like good will come from certain people in this class of people. But this class of people is also riding very high on a horse where they just naturally, and this is a bit of a conservative view, have the right to rule and maintain their systems of power. And
then in 100 years, RFK Jr. and his brain worm will dismantle it brick by brick.
Correct. And that's scary. But if it makes you feel better, people who we would largely classify as illiterate today built the system in the first place, so we can get it back. This is also why I am sad about what's happening in the news, but I'm not shocked or dismayed by it. I'm like, y'all didn't read history, or you weren't taught it because your history teacher was also coaching football to a 3-7 record. But like, this is who we are. Like, a judge in South Carolina ruled against Trump. Yeah. 2 days later, their ruling was overturned.
House was on fire.
Right, their house got blown up, and everyone's like, "How is this America?" And I want to be like, that was Jim Crow. Blowing up a judge's house is actually more South Carolinian than winning the SEC title. Give me a high five. Hell yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It's a football joke. They get it.
Some of them
Go
get
Skurs. Anyways, all I'm saying is political violence is real.
And also a revolution is a revolution, you know? I think it's so... Did you see that? I don't remember which one it was.
I promise you we are going to be talking about Typhoid Mary, but this is still us talking about Typhoid Mary.
JFK Jr. or RFK Jr., whatever.
What did JFK Jr. say? He said.
See, I didn't want to make fun of his voice, and now... I don't give a fuck.
He once ran over a bear and buried it in Central Park. That's a special kind of category of a person.
Because
we can make fun of.
What? Because he wanted to eat the bear and then decided he didn't have time for it or
The
something?
best story of 2024, unfortunately, is the fact that the New York Times journalist that covered it was his second cousin.
Yeah.
Like, I want Shonda Rhimes to write that miniseries.
That's beautiful. Did you
What were
see
you
that
saying?
he
Sorry.
just came out saying it's either uncircumcised or circumcised, one of the two. I didn't retain it, but he was like, that also causes autism. I'm like, babe, you can just admit that you're on the spectrum.
I want you to know that we're going to talk about during the Patreon, because I have so many things to say about that.
So
and I can't
wild.
say any of them. Not in front of a paywall. Behind a paywall, I can say more. But.
Yeah.
So disease. Unwashed, filthy people. What did I write? Do I even just say any of this? Yes. Okay, I do actually.
Hey, do you remember when RFK Jr.'s wife was trying to...
Didn't hear any of that so
when
far. I want you to know.
RFK Jr.'s wife was trying to film a video for social media in her bathroom.
Nope, I don't remember that.
And RFK Jr. just starts fully taking a shower behind her.
We live in the dumbest timeline. We live in the dumbest
so fucking
timeline.
stupid.
I want to say it's off topic, but no, he's the Health and Human Services Secretary.
Yeah,
I can't remember, whatever.
I
So
hate it here.
basically, the whole point of this chapter was to emphasize to you guys.
Oh my God, we're still at chapter 1.
No, this is chapter 2. Chapter 1 was
cool,
that was kind
cool.
of prologue. Was an almost murder mystery. Chapter 2, or chapter 1 if you count that as a prologue, was disease by another name, Filth. And basically the entire chapter is just trying to be like, they kind of believed in germ theory because it aligned with fucked up things that they
With
believed themselves.
classism and racism and
Right.
xenophobia.
Correct. And that made them feel good and also made them right like 50% of the time, right?
Yeah.
But
On
also,
accident, to be clear.
people who had that kind of disease were filthy.
Typhoid? Or just in general?
Typhus, any of those diseases that were common
They
to
were
the urban
saying- yeah,
masses,
okay.
they were filthy people, which is a very proud tradition in this country of blaming people who are victimized by the system for being victimized by the system.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why you would say that ever.
Well-
That's never happened in this country.
But the cognitive dissonance that I think is really interesting from this
Yeah.
time is they view those neighborhoods and the people that live in those neighborhoods as filthy. And then those people wake up every morning and commute to their neighborhoods to work as doormen, footmen, maids. And it's just funny that one person could be, you know, like so opposed to a group of people they would support their deportation and at the same time hire them to do services for them. And they wouldn't see any hypocrisy in that, nor would they think that runs counter to their religion, which preaches charity. That's really interesting.
And not slave labor, but that's fine.
Chapter 3. The hunt is on.
That Typhoid Mary better watch out.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Run, Mary, run! But also don't cook.
Please stop cooking. Find another job.
George Soper now has to try to find...
It's fucking crazy that his last name is Soper.
That's also me guessing how to pronounce it. It's Soper, and I'm not going to spend all episodes saying Soper.
Yeah, that's worse.
George Soper still has to find Mary Mallon in the jungle of New York. And that's tough because, like, she's not tagging her location on Instagram.
She's not.
No.
She doesn't. He didn't put an air tag on her.
She can't have the federal government violate every last privacy right we have. And just
Palantir
look
didn't
her
exist
up.
back
Yeah, exactly.
then.
How can we use traffic cam readers to find her exact location? You know,
Exactly.
He has to do some foot on the ground, like
He's gotta
investigative
do some,
work.
like
Right.
hard-boiled detective.
Correct. Guy noir.
I saw her in the bar talking to the guy and cooking and killing people.
George Soper, my job to wash up crime in the city.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 or whatever. It's like
The same fucking. We are the worst branded show.
100%. We have fun.
Yeah.
It means a lot to us. Where else would I share all of the stories I have told you tonight, including that of Mary Mallon?
I don't know. You're gonna hate my story next week.
Listen, I know in my heart that any theme we do, you and I will choose the most exact opposite topic possible.
I was genuinely worried with this one that you would do a sad one.
Thai soccer club, same episode.
same theme. I was genuinely worried that yours was going to be sad. And then I was trying to think of something. I'm like, I don't know how to take Sickening and not be sad. And then I just like said, fuck it, I'm doing this. He chose this theme. I'm very glad that this is not.
No, not sad.
Yeah.
So George Soper like truly has no idea where to find her. And then he just kind of manages to stumble into it. And do you want to take one guess as to how he finds out where Mary Mallon is?
Reports of more typhoid.
Correct.
Wow. I could be a detective in 1906. I want you to read just,
you're right. It's written right there. It's in parentheses, all caps, Maia, take a guess.
I do that too. I'm like, Grant, do you want to guess? Haha, correct.
Fixed it. You're right. Yeah. A fancy home on Park Avenue suddenly and unexpectedly had an outbreak of typhoid.
That's wild.
George Soper runs over and is like, ah ha ha, I've caught you, ah ha ha, you're spreading typhoid, ah ha ha. And Mary Mallon has the super normal response of, who are you?
Please get out of my kitchen.
And then he's like, ha ha ha, I'm George Soper, I've been investigating typhoid and you have typhoid.
And then he takes off her chef's hat and there's a rat.
A mouse. Can't be Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Because I'm fat and bald, which is clever. Friends, it's a shout out to a previous conversation that you were not privy to, but that's okay. Who are you? And so he's like, aha, I'm George Soper, aha, New York sanitation engineer. And she's like, well, you're a liar who I have never met. And he goes, but I know you, and I know you have typhoid. And she goes, that's...
Okay, how am I alive then?
Right, she's like, I actively don't have typhoid right now. Like, look at me. Do I look like I have rampaging diarrhea? And he was like, no, it's something worse.
But there's no way to know. Right. Pull down the pants.
Okay, GOP. and he was like, ah ha ha, sure, maybe you don't have it right now, but at one point you did have typhoid. And Mary is like, I am saying this with my whole chest. I have never had typhoid. I have no idea what you were talking about.
So funny that she has to say this, but she's also like, and I don't know why people keep dying of typhoid around me.
Oh, God, you're going to really love a chapter coming up. And he's like, aha, but I know you have typhoid. And she goes, okay, sir, if you don't get out of here, I'm going to gut you with this carving knife.
Incredible Typhoid Mary. Incredible Mary Mallon.
This now comes from my book. Also, by the way, one of the books I read, written by Anthony Bourdain. I read 2 books by Anthony Bourdain and a third one about Anthony Bourdain this summer.
You really loved Anthony Bourdain. It was your Anthony Bourdain summer.
Here's the thing. I like vaguely kind of knew Anthony Bourdain wrote this book, and then I got to a certain section and it was like I was back in Kitchen Confidential. That man had a voice that he wrote with all through his entire career, and I immediately was able to recognize it.
And Grant also has that.
Oh, thanks. To his dismay, Mary did not see George as the answer to some long, troubling question about the series of odd and unpleasant coincidences that had followed her. He stood as an accuser, and she reacted thus. And her reaction seems to have come as a complete surprise to him. Here, at the first meeting between the pursuer and the pursued, is where things began to go terribly wrong, at least for Mary Mallon, and any future she might have had. George is dismayed, but undeterred. In his words, he had, quote, been as diplomatic as possible. So now he naturally needed to stalk Mary to save the city.
It's Joe from You.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. One day, George Soper hung out outside the home of the Park Avenue and quietly followed Mary home.
Oh my God.
What he witnessed would horrify modern viewers. But even for those living at the time, the way Mary was living was rough.
That's tough.
But not particularly unique.
Yeah.
Mary rented one room in a boarding house, which meant that her room did not have a bathroom.
Yeah,
she would have shared a bathroom
yeah.
on the floor. In fact, other than the confines of her room that she rented, she would have shared everything.
Yeah.
A perk of the boarding house was downstairs in the dining room. The owner of the boarding house would feed you probably a breakfast and dinner, but also it wasn't uncommon at the time for these boarding houses to have curfews, and they would lock you out if you missed a curfew, or like certain times
it's
food
college
was ready.
dorm room. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But this is a grown woman.
Yeah.
But it's not just any boarding house.
Ew.
It's a boarding house in which the brand new elevated train was built on top of. She literally lives below the trains. And the level of filth that was at these boarding houses is shocking to people at the time, right? Because these people go home and there's no one really doing the sweeping and cleaning there. I mean, boarding house, owners, whatever, like the women that ran these boarding homes obviously worked to keep the place clean and were proud of keeping it clean. But the living conditions are still shocking, you know?
You can only keep things so clean when you're systematically being oppressed.
The presence of rodents and bed bugs had to be so ubiquitous as to be unnoted or like unnoteworthy, right? And this is important too, in this time, where disease is connected to filth and filth is connected to moral depravity, to be seen as disease-ridden is a death nail for a respectable servant.
Right.
You can be sick, but you can't be disreputable in the eye of your employer.
Right.
She has no children. She has no husband. Though she does have one
spinster.
lover. Yes, but she has one lover, and this is really interesting too. The lover is assumed to have at least been fairly pretty or at least a good conversationalist, because it's hard to understand why Mary, a proud and practicing Catholic, would tolerate a drunkard who went through bouts of unemployment unless he was a funny, pretty good time.
Well, I have met a lot of women that deal with some pretty shitty men.
The men are not lonely enough.
I agree. Have you been watching Love is Blind Denver?
No, because I don't want to watch a commercial for the RNC.
It's the worst people I've ever seen on TV. Like, even for Love is Blind standards, like, these people are fucking awful.
I'm always like, it'd be so fun to go on that show just so I could catfish whoever
we would not get.
No,
someone was
I know.
On like the Reddit page, there's a couple people that were like, I got interviewed to be on the season of Love is Blind and I got cut off, and I think it was because I told them I was in therapy and like that I was on medication for my anxiety and stuff like that. And so like, I don't think we'd be let on.
Which is
anymore.
funny too, because like that's maybe I live in a bubble, but that's who Denver is. Denver is like, I have a therapy dog and a medication that I got to get
and
from
then
King
a therapy
Supers,
cat, and then a therapy horse,
and you're
and
gonna
a therapy
catch me in the
peacock.
mountains.
Yeah.
And when you see on my car the accountants are calling and I must go, what I'm doing is managing my depression.
A lot of people are complaining that like there are no Denver stereotypes on that TV show, and it's awful.
Which is too bad because we're a funny group of people. Like,
they could have had a great show.
My favorite
That's all I'm saying.
thing in the entire world is when I fly from Denver to Omaha.
Yeah.
I'm on a flight with 100% Nebraskans. Like, we're all wearing Nebraska stuff. We're Nebraskan through and through.
Sure.
But when I get on a flight to go from Omaha to Denver, I'm the fattest person on that plane. It's all Tivas and Chacos. Everyone's asking the flight attendant to fill up their Nalgene.
Yeah.
It's like, you can tell.
Can do that?
No. You can tell you're flying back to DIA.
Yeah, that does happen.
So back to Mary Mallon.
Yeah, Mary Mallon.
George follows her home and then
Creep.
in a super cool and not at all creepy way confronts her at her home.
Creep.
With literally being like, hey, Mary, it's me again. Give me your shit. Give me your literal shit, your fecal matter. I need to test it. Give me your shit. Oh, also, if you give me your shit and we test it and we prove that you have typhoid, which you definitely 100% do, we will help you get free healthcare so you can get like access to it. And Mary's like,
I don't trust that.
I don't. You followed me home at night.
Yeah,
you
I
freak.
wouldn't trust that.
I worked 18 hours and now you want me to give you my fecal matter? No. And then George Soper's like, well, I don't even like really need your poop. I can prove it without it. In fact, I've already proved it.
And Mary's like,
okay, then let's still leave.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh God,
damn
stupid idiot.
Yeah.
I actually wrote Mary's again, like, get away, you freak. Good job.
Hey, nice.
Which, by the way, also, can I say, give me your poop. I've already proven it's you. I just need your poop is not a convincing message.
No.
I have a decade-long career as a debate coach and a master's degree in communication. Not a winning rhetorical strategy.
No.
Eventually, George enlists the help of a promising young female doctor, Dr. Sarah Josephine Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The hope was that a female doctor would make Mary more likely to comply. It did not.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it would.
On a third and final visit, George, Dr. Sarah Josephine Baker, I'm going to eventually start calling her just Dr. Josephine Baker. No, that's her 2 last names.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't until I finally read a source and I was like, oh, her first name is Sarah.
Yeah.
So on a third visit with George, Dr. Josephine Baker, and at least 5 police officers, they were like, Mary, we're just here for your blood and stool samples.
She's like, sorry, what?
Bolts
Yeah.
out of there. She runs through the backyard, jumps several fences. The police chase her down. They eventually find her hiding in an outdoor outhouse in someone's backyard.
Oof.
When they apprehend her, this woman who by this point is going to be, let me do the quick math, 39, 40, like she's right there, is so strong. It takes 5 New York City cops to subdue her into the ambulance. And then it takes Dr. Josephine Baker sitting on her to get her to the hospital. This woman is strong. Typhoid, if she has it, did not
only
weaken
strengthened her.
Yes. All the bacteria hive mind is rising up. Protect the queen.
She's just actually typhoid in a trench coat.
That's exactly it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, you got it right. Where they transport her to Willard Parker Hospital, admit her against her will, and essentially imprison her. We're going to keep Mary there.
Is this an actual hospital?
Yes.
Okay. That's good.
This one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
We're going to keep Mary there for a second.
That's good.
They keep her there for 4 days. We're just going to keep her there for a second.
Oh, see, we're progressive like
so
that.
much better. Well, I trust and believe.
Damn it. One day I'm going to get there before you.
Not a great joke for us to make.
Oh, no. Because no one trusts and believes the women in this.
There's so many. I hate everything. Great. Let's go ahead and get into it.
He had notifications. He had to
so
clear.
many of them. We've been recording for an hour.
Yeah.
So, who was Mary? Mary Mallon was born in 1869 in County Tyrone, Ireland. Born between the Great Famine and the Irish Famine of 1879, Mary was not born into an easy life.
Yeah, I can imagine.
For starters, she might have been born with typhoid fever because her mom contracted it when she was pregnant. If that is true, then Mary's claim that she never had typhoid makes sense and
she
is from her
genuinely
unbelievable.
didn't. Yeah.
Correct. Considering the high rate of infant mortality at the time of her birth, it would have been viewed as uneventful for a working class woman to birth a child that had a fever.
Right.
So uneventful that her family probably wouldn't have told her. Not to like keep a secret, but
just because it doesn't matter.
Not even noteworthy.
Yeah.
Probably not the only fever she had her first year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I've been constantly avoiding doing the Irish famine as an episode topic because it's so sad. Like every part of it is sad.
Just let me know when you need that to happen and I'll find the stupidest little story to do after that.
When I'm like, I need you to queue up something fun.
Because I'm actually deeply interested.
And the theme is like potatoes. You'll just know exactly what I need you to do.
Also, after watching Dairy Girls, I am more interested in the Irish Civil War.
Be.
Yeah, because I didn't know some of those details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very interesting. Back to it.
The curse of history education.
Degree, yes. Funny more people respected it.
Sorry, what?
No, I didn't say anything. We could probably cut that. Anyways, so Mary immigrates to the U.S. when she's 15 in 1864. This follows like a very long tradition of Irish immigration and helps explain to you how horrific famines were during the second half of the 19th century in Ireland, that unlike almost any other country that saw immigration during this time, young men and young women immigrated at the same age in the same number to the same locations. Like it was essentially a genderless rite of passage for young Irish people to immigrate to the US and start working.
Right.
And at the age of 15, that's what Mary does. She moves from Ireland to New York, where she initially lives with an uncle. She immediately starts working as a housemaid. However, she very quickly learns an incredibly useful skill. She becomes a cook for wealthy families, which was a very real skill at the time.
Yeah. We've watched The Gilded Age.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. To secure that kind of job, Mary both needed to work hard at her training and also have some natural talent as a cook. For instance, she was apparently famous for her peach ice cream.
Interesting.
Still, in the years before meeting George Soper, she had worked for 8 affluent families, 7 of whom had contracted typhoid.
Wait, working for George?
Sorry,
Did she work for him?
in the years before meeting George.
Oh, okay.
She worked for, because she did not work for George, but before George was like, you poisoned this family in Oyster Bay.
Yeah.
She worked for 8 families,
Okay.
7 of whom would contract typhoid.
That's tough.
What's ironic, though, is that in several of those households, the first people who contracted it, or the only people who contracted it sometimes, were the servants.
Oh.
Historians believe that was because the servants were most likely to eat uncooked ingredients Mary had been working with.
Oh. Pasteurization,
Yes.
bitch.
Or like as you walk through the kitchen, you grab an uncooked green bean.
Yeah.
When Mary's in the other room grabbing something, you stick a finger into the ice cream and you have a taste of it, right? All of these uncooked ingredients could be typhoid carriers. Cooked food almost always like surpassed the temperature needed to cook the disease. But what's interesting too, especially if you're taking the point of view of Mary for a second, this actually feeds into her explanation of how it's not her.
Yeah.
She's like, I go to these places and these filthy servants are touching my food and contaminating it.
Yeah.
I'm the picture
She
of
literally
health.
doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
How can I have typhoid and take on 5 New York City cops? Meanwhile, I'm working at these places where the servants get sick first, and those servants are also working with the family, and they're spreading the disease.
You know, she's got a point.
She has an excellent point.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
It's absolutely wrong, given that we now know her as Typhoid Mary. But
it's
that's a very good argument.
No, it's not only it's a very good argument, it also fits into, even amongst working class people and servants at the time, it fits into a larger kind of social structure that existed amongst the servants. Essentially, the perception was anyone could shovel coal, anyone could make a bed, but to be the butler, the head housemaid, or the cook of the house was a real skill and earned you both a better salary, but more respect from the household.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the household probably knew your name, and maybe not just the name the last 8 footmen were given, but knew your actual name, right? And that also meant below stairs, you had the power to boss people around, which really pissed people off. And so Mary was like, these jealous, dirty-ass bitches were touching my food and spreading disease, and now you're blaming me, and they're haters and they're jealous because they can't cook and I can.
Would you rather be the butler, the like house manager, or the chef?
Chef, 100%.
Yeah,
I love cooking.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. Gilded Age.
Yeah.
We're in Bertha's house.
Yeah.
You would be the chef.
Yes.
I would be the like house manager.
Correct.
We would
The one with like the updo little thing.
100%.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we're like in love, but we obviously not in our timeline.
Right.
But like,
I think we're still in love, but it's platonic because we're both married to our careers.
and
you know?
we would fucking kill that shit.
the
We
way-
would actually single-handedly get Bertha in with the old money.
The way I'm saving you bread and you're bringing me books down from the main library.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
And you let me hire the hot kitchen maid, and then I let you hire the hot footman, and it's
And then we can be in like a
it's a real gross
I'll be your
situation
beard.
as we abuse our power,
Yeah.
and that as we get caught in the end and they fire us, but we have it good for a while.
we would never get fired because we would hire Tyler as the
because I
butler.
would poison them.
Yeah.
No, sure, that too.
Don't tell them the plan.
Listen, all I'm saying is it gets very hot down in those kitchens. What if we all took our shirts off? Andrew, you first.
And that's when I go upstairs.
Like, Jesus Christ, Grant, coming.
Sorry, someone's calling me.
You're ringing the bell yourself. Okay, now I got to talk about Mary some more. Okay, here's the thing. So when George enters the picture with his crazy idea that she might be carrying typhoid, Mary had lived a difficult life, but was building it into something. Thousands of Irish girls had moved to the U.S. and were working in houses. The Great Famine back in Ireland had delayed marriage by more than a decade for most people. And whereas before the famine, some 10% of the Irish population would not get married, after the famine, almost a third of the Irish population will not get married.
Wow.
For lack of suitors, lack of money. Also, the real threat of having to feed children you have in marriage prevents marriage from happening in the first place.
I wanted to make a joke, awkward. It doesn't feel fun now.
I hear you. But also, like, for those policymakers concerned about, like, declining birth rates, like, history continues to provide examples. Because the Irish birth rate will rebound in the decades afterwards.
That is how carrying capacities work also. And you're giving us no goddamn reason to have babies.
But what if I give you a $100 gift card to Best Buy? Would you have 5 children then? That's my policy proposal right now. You know those are actual policy proposals, right? Like, we're going to give you enough money for 1 year's worth of subscription to Netflix with ads. And then you
have a child that you now have to financially support for the next 18 years. Does that sound good?
Mary is
good for you?
Mary's hardworking. She's proud of her morals and values. She views herself as an upstanding lady, a person who goes to church. She's a cook. She serves a position of power, and she's making a shit ton of money. See, good cooks at this time in New York.
Bank.
I want to actually kind of paint this picture for you a little bit, because good cooks in New York needed to be able to produce meals for all of the servants and also at the same time the family. You would be expected to provide kind of traditional English and Irish fare to the family for like breakfast or like quick lunches or things like that. But the dinners could be extravagant. Like, for instance, a lot of the food at the time was expected, if you had a big dinner party, it was expected for it to be French cooking.
Right.
But the issue with French cooking is that French cooking originates in the French peasantry, which means French cooking is famous for finding ways to use all parts of an animal, which requires advanced techniques to make tough meat soft, to make vegetables stretch, to make rich sauces. And that requires techniques. And there's not like YouTube or anything. So that means...
Listeners, watch this while he compliments French people.
I said cooking. Excellent point, though. But it also meant that cooks had to be, at least to a certain degree, literate in both English and select French words.
Yeah.
But also the ability to read brand new recipes as New York goes through crazy fads. Like, for instance, there was one summer where Turkish food was the rage, and they of course called it, and excuse me, this comes from the book, Oriental food. But yep.
Whoa.
Yep. Mary Mallon was expected to be able to read recipes to produce food essentially from Turkey, and then order these ingredients that are clearly not like staples in her kitchen, and be able to prepare it properly. And not only to do that, but to do it
make it taste good.
Taste good. Do it at like an industry scale, and to do it during basically like the most pressure-filled situation for the household, which is we are trying to climb socially, and we need to be able to produce food.
God, the Gilded Age really did prep me for this episode.
It really did.
Grant's been playing a long game.
I always am. Because I want you to think about it for a second. Like, these social climbers are trying to advance. And if you think about typhoid, like, that's not good. Like, you don't want it.
Wow, thank you, Grant.
But Mary's still getting work.
Yeah.
Raising the question, how much typhoid are you willing to risk for some French cooking? For some social advancement?
That's actually a phenomenal question. How much French cooking are you willing to... How much pain are you willing to deal with for French cooking, for good French cooking?
I will deal with an upset stomach anytime I eat cheese. So I think I'm willing to be bloated for up to 3 days for a good French meal.
Okay, but like to hire a French chef, like what does that look like then?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I haven't even painted that picture. Do you have an answer?
No.
Okay. She has power. She's a great cook. Bling, bling, bling. Okay, here it comes. Okay. So, to Mary, George's accusations sounded like the work of fiction. How could she have spread a disease she never had? His accusations also implied, in Mary's eyes, that she was dirty, filthy, and morally inferior.
Good God.
Something only the weak and sinful were. If George got his way, Mary would lose her career, a career she was proud of, a career that she needed to pay for her life, and a career that gave her a position and power in society.
If she gets blackballed, like, it's over for her.
Correct. No. In fact, to Mary, George was not a messenger of the truth.
Yeah.
Rather, a symbol of the elites and their power. Mary had witnessed disease and death her entire life. Right. It had came for everybody. The young and the old, the strong and the weak. People got sick and died all the time in her neighborhood. No one had ever shed a tear for the thousands of nameless Irish folks, both in America and in Ireland, who had died from disease and governmental apathy. George was not a spokesperson for public health, but rather lead prosecutor for the affluent.
Yeah.
One of their own had fallen ill, and now they
Now
needed
they
a
care.
scapegoat. And who better than a powerless, hardworking Irish girl? Blame the servant. Who cares if you blow up her life?
Well, damn, Jackie.
I know. See, here's the thing. Mary's life represents some of the massive shifts that define this era in history, especially
Right.
U.S. history. Her immigration to the U.S. is just one of millions that occur in the decades after the
Right.
Civil War. She's one of thousands of unmarried Irish women working in cities up and down the East Coast. If you've seen Saoirse Ronan's movie Brooklyn, like that's a representation of like this moment in time.
Right.
And new technologies were making her life easier. Because she worked in some of the nicest kitchens, she had access to like new electronic devices and like, for instance, gas burners. Whereas
Right.
before she was expected to be able to maintain a consistent fire, to produce a consistent heat, to properly cook these fancy meals. Now she had a stable and reliable gas stove that was also providing her reliable hot water.
I would have not survived in this
Correct.
era. Like, not only can I... Hey.
I wouldn't either. This is not a
I was
statement
like,
to you.
bro.
I wash my hands 7 times a day before I come home from work.
And that makes sense given the state of high schoolers.
Right.
I can't bring myself to like cook for myself even when I create the simplest of recipes built for my depression, ADHD, and anxiety. And my brain is like, nah. Like, what are we doing while we're cooking though? Because can't just be cooking. That's so fucking lame. And to be having to like maintain a fire
Right, to be
while
able to eat.
also cooking. Nah, I would have died.
I thought of you the other night when I was cooking. I was making a sauce to go on
Weird
top
time
of
to be
some
thinking
stuff.
of me, but thanks.
Well, you'll understand
Okay.
why. I was thinking about you when I was cooking last night, and I mean not last night, but a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
And I was making a sauce to put over my meat, and I go, it's kind of liquidy. Do we have a gelatin? I think we could use a gelatin here. And I was like, Maya would love this. And then I had some gelatin in my fridge.
Gelatin, not
Yeah.
flour.
No,
That's what I think of a thickening agent.
sure, not that kind of thick though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Once
God
I
forbid, not that
once I
kind of
introduce flour, I now need to burn it a little to make it a roux, and then I'm going to have to like add more liquid to turn it into a
This
sauce
is why
again.
I can't cook, y'all.
Right, and
this
that's
is
why-
too much. I
I
love
think this is a little gelatin here. Do we have any
I love
gelatin?
chemistry. This is too much.
I hate chemistry, but I love cooking.
Yeah, that's just like so fucked up because like A should equal B in that scenario, and for both of us, A does not equal B.
Neither did it for Mary Mallon,
Yeah.
whose life has benefited. Perfect segue. Whose life has benefited from these new technologies, and at the same time is being ripped apart by these new technologies, specifically germ testing.
Yeah. She's like, oh.
But what's also ironic is that while Mary Mallon's life reflects the overall arching narrative of this time in history, so does the other woman on the other end of the story. Dr. Sarah Josephine
Right.
Baker also represented this new kind of woman, though in a much more, quote, respectable way, working her way through school and then actively working to make education and healthcare for children better, cleaner, and safer. Dr. Josephine Baker helped reduce instances of blindness in New York City babies by 99%.
What did she do again?
Basically cleaned up the process of birthing so that way children's
Right.
eyes didn't get infected.
I
and then
know
they
her
went
name. I
blind.
know the name Josephine Baker. I just couldn't peg what it was.
She also set up systems in New York City schools that put a doctor and nurse basically in every one
Yeah.
and helped eliminate instances of lice, which dramatically decreased the spread of typhus, and also helped take care of other eye infections that were so common at the time they were viewed as basically uncurable.
Listen, as a woman in a male-dominated field, sometimes to me, I feel like when you hear these stories of women that come up with like these common sense solutions, it feels like easy solutions with big effect. You're like, well, why didn't anyone else? Yeah, because men don't fucking think sometimes.
Well, they're not worried about children. They're not taking care of children.
There was one time, I'm going to give bare bones details on this. I got brought into this project and they were working on where to put this piece of equipment. And they were like, there's no room on the wall for this piece of equipment. I literally was like, is there a reason we're not rotating it 90 degrees so that it's like the narrow end that's on the wall? And there's just like silence. They had been working on this for like a month. And they were like,
I mean,
I guess I guess that works. It's like
It's also bore out in the data. Women make up a majority of people who file for patents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women as inventor, Matilda Gage, babes.
Right. So Dr. Josephine Baker
Episode 91.
is this groundbreaking physician.
Yeah.
She's leading the cause when it comes to children's healthcare. She's the modern woman, also because she's secretly a lesbian.
I love that.
Dr. Josephine Baker would basically spend her entire life with her lover, Ida Alexis Ross Wiley, who, when publishing, went by IRA Wiley to try to hide her gender a little bit.
Incredible.
Dr. Josephine Baker would come out with her own autobiography titled Fighting for Life, which is gorgeous and perfect and how amazing.
Yeah.
And then her partner, IRA Wiley, came out with her own book called My Life with George. And then I went down a rabbit hole and I was like, what's going on? For IRA Wiley, George was the name that she gave her subconscious because she felt her subconscious was more male-oriented. Her close friends, all of whom were also lesbians, referred to her as uncle. And here's what she had to say. Quote,
I love that shit.
I have always liked women better than men. I am more at ease with them and more amused by them. Women rather than men.
Yeah.
I too am rather bored by a conventional relationship, which seems to involve either my playing up to someone or playing down to someone. Here and there, and especially in my later years when I'm no longer in danger of entrapping or ensnaring one of them, I have established some real relationships with men in which we meet and like each other on equal terms as human beings. But fortunately, I have never wanted to marry any of them, nor, with the exception of that one misguided German grenadier, have any of them wanted to marry me.
Oh.
And so Dr. Josephine Baker, IRA Wiley lived together. And then there was a third woman that lived with them too. And I'm so sorry I didn't record her name as well. She was also a doctor. She just did this very casual thing called curing African sleeping disease, which at one point killed half of the population of Uganda. And then after doing that, came back for another touchdown where she helped discover a potential cure to syphilis that could pass through the brain membrane barrier.
Well, we also cured diseases every day. So, I mean...
And the reason why
wild.
The reason why we have to kind of largely speculate that Dr. Josephine Baker was in a love affair with IRA Wiley is because just before her death, Dr. Josephine Baker had all of her papers destroyed.
I fucking love that. I want to do that.
Why? She erased her queerness, to protect herself.
I think that's so fascinating though when women do that because Miss Krakenthorpe did that. Della Revere Manley did that. Destroyed things so that they could control their own narrative. Okay. And they're like, the things that are published that I'm proud of that other people have access to, that's what I want to be known for. I don't want to be known for all this bullshit speculation. That's so fucking badass.
So here's what I wrote to finish that chapter. Because queer people are everywhere. We've always been here. There's nothing wrong with us.
Yeah.
And they will never change us. Love y'all. Next chapter. First quarantine.
Okay. Is this a good time to
refresh?
Yeah, refresh. Okay, cool.
All right.
And we're back.
We're back. So where we last left Mary was at the Willard Parker Hospital.
Right.
And that's where we're going to re-pick up at.
Okay.
Mary was held there for 4 days. She was physically forced to give blood, stool, and urine samples, an exercise that no doubt humiliated and belittled a proud Mary Mallon.
Yeah.
While at the hospital, good old George Soper swings by. His thought process is so stupid, it's funny. He's like, now that we've caught her, maybe she'll be less worried about being caught and she'll listen to me now. Instead of, just being rightfully fuming that she has been detained without having really kind of broken any laws.
Truly.
And then humiliated in that process.
You've ever had to collect your own pee for whatever reason.
Imagine someone else doing it.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, it's the most humiliating little position that they could ever put you in.
Now that she can't run, she'll be more likely to cooperate. And George had a couple of fantastic ideas to swing by her. He was like, first, here's my first thought. Mary, stay with me. We remove your gallbladder. How does that sound?
Is that good for you?
I think your typhoid is living in your gallbladder. And we should just take it out.
Based on what?
You'd be shocked at how many people don't have gallbladders these days. You don't really need one. So I think we get rid of your gallbladder. I think that's the first thing we would do. And then next, I think you should know you were spreading typhoid because after you used the bathroom, you weren't washing your hands. So if you want, I'd be happy to show you how to properly wash your hands. So that way you won't spread typhoid anymore.
I'd kill him.
And then third and final idea, and this one's the most ambitious. I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and write a book together.
What?
We can talk about all the disease you've spread at all of those different houses and how it was you weren't washing your hands afterwards. And it'll be super informative. And I think we should write a book together.
Literally.
I've done nothing wrong. I don't know why. I'm George Soper.
Like... What?
You, woman chained up in this hospital, I am your advocate.
Yeah, like I think you and I together should write a book. Because don't you feel so amicable towards me after I've chased you down and forced you to give us your fecal matter against your will?
And after I stalked you and you freaked out, if you hadn't freaked out, you would have heard that was my kind of goal all along. Mary...
Just make money off of her. Okay.
Correct. Mary calmly stands up, walks to the bathroom in her hospital room, closes the door and locks it behind herself. And
Good
then
for her.
Does not leave.
Incredible.
Does not say a single word to George.
Good.
Is like, get out. Like, but
Fucking
without
psycho.
saying it out
Yeah.
loud. Like, I hate you so much for everything. You're not cutting me open. You're not showing me how to wash my hands.
You're not taking my gallbladder.
Right. I'm not writing a book with you.
Yeah.
You've ruined my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to do this with you. Unfortunately, the stool samples that they took against Mary's will had massive amounts of the bacteria that causes typhoid in her system.
Tracks.
She was sentenced to be quarantined on North Brother Island, a small island in New York just south of the Bronx and super close to Rikers Island.
Okay.
She was going to be quarantined there for an undetermined amount of time.
Y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Once quarantined on North Brother Island, George Soper went ahead and just published an article about her in the
Classic.
Journal of the American Medical Association.
Because why would he not profit?
Right. The journal then generated a lot of public attention. Also, that journal generates the first real public attention because all of the other typhoid cases that Mary had been connected to were obviously buried by the families who didn't want people to know they had typhoid.
Yes.
The general public was unaware of the presence of Mary until this was published. And the thing is, you could be like, well, the public and public knowledge, they had the right to know about asymptomatic carriers, which is like now what we understand it to be. Right. Like they had the right to know about it. And that's like probably true. But you also like probably didn't need to name Mary, in your book.
You could have. Yes,
like
psychotic.
you
didn't have to ruin her career forever.
Well, like even if we need her to change careers, you didn't need to change and like you destroyed this woman's world against her will. And when the press read his article in the Journal of the American Medical Association, it is the press that comes up with the name Typhoid Mary.
Of course it is.
In fact, the name Typhoid Mary was so hurtful to her that at one point she complained to her lawyer about like, well, they don't call him Typhoid William Parker because William Parker was one of the people that was first discovering like bacteria and like germ theory. Yeah. She was like, how would he like it if she was Mrs. Typhoid William Parker, right? Like how would he like it if that was his title, And I think it's important to remember too, there's very good reason to believe that Mary still believes she is being lied to. Yeah. Mary, if she did contract typhoid only as an infant, which would then also explain why she never really caught it in any of these houses because she kind of always had it and was asymptomatic.
I mean, in like 2007, the Italian police lied to Amanda Knox about having HIV/AIDS. So like it's not unheard of.
Not unheard of at all.
Even today.
Right. And so like it's not unreasonable to think like Mary is like, I have legitimately never had typhoid.
Yeah.
Typhoid's not an uncommon disease. I've worked with, in my mind, filthy people.
Yes.
What I understand about germs is like they would absolutely get it, but I've never gotten it.
Yeah.
I have never gotten it, and I've had just the misfortune of working at places where people did get it. And now that I worked for a family whose precious baker's daughter got sick, I was chased across town, and now I'm in prison. She didn't lose her job at the Park Avenue place when she was accused of typhoid, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. Even the owner of the home was like, I
don't know.
Give or take. Like, I don't really know. It's like that new of a like science.
Did she like just leave? Oh, so the Park Avenue place was the
arrested.
Well, the Park Avenue place was the new place that
Correct.
she was. Okay,
it's where
right.
George found her because disease.
I thought it was
popped
like
up
the
there.
first place that she was at that you were talking about. But.
And so she's like rightfully furious.
Yeah.
And at this point, probably does not believe she's a transmitter. We now have from the New York State Medical Examiner's Office, like evidence that her feces is full of the bacteria.
Yeah.
So we now have medical science that proves it. And it's medical science that people in our time would believe.
Understand, yeah.
It's not, I mean, that's a new science. Germ theory is still called theory, you know, like it's not a proven science. There were years, decades away from any of this kind of science being used to like help with like criminal trials or anything.
Right.
What it sounds like is the elites are concocting a story to imprison her.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't blame her at all.
So beginning in 1907, Mary Mallon is quarantined on this island with other patients who are legitimately sick, who do legitimately have typhoid.
God.
Yeah. It's also kind of anyone that is sick and the general public don't want to see in like a classist way gets shoved onto North Brothers Island or Rikers, which is like increasingly becoming a prison. If you arrived in America and you were super sick, you either were immediately turned around and sent back, or they sent you to a place like North Brother Island. And what's also important to keep in mind too is like just how common death would have been in Mary's life up to this point.
Yeah, she didn't think that this was not normal.
Like death is for us obviously now like so shocking, and people die like in like hospitals, and there's like a moment where you realize this person's about to die, or like if they die at home or somewhere else, it's a huge deal. And like if you die before you're 65 or 70, everyone's like, you died young, like what was the surprise cause?
Yeah.
Mary as a 15-year-old in the hull of a ship would have seen people die around her on her way to America.
Yeah.
Right? Like death is not this thing that's a sign that something's wrong for her. And now she's in this place where they're putting basically like anyone that they just don't like, or that they don't know how to treat, or they think is a lost cause, or doesn't have any like resources to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And again, we now know that the reason why Mary's around all these people and not getting sick herself is because she is an asymptomatic carrier.
Right.
But that's like not understood at the time.
Yeah, no one understands, least of all Mary.
Correct. Fortunately, there are some people that are like kind of uncomfortable with what the New York State Medical Examiner is doing to Mary.
That's good.
Specifically, doctors and researchers Milton Rosenau and Charles Chapin are both like, hey, it's actually super messed up that we've just like locked this woman up completely with like no end date.
Yeah.
And if people who think they might be asymptomatic find out that their fate is to be locked up on Prisoner Island forever, right, we're going to have a much bigger healthcare crisis, when what we should really be doing is teaching Mary about her disease and teaching her how to manage her illness. Yes, 100%. Because that's the thing too about typhoid. It's not like she's necessarily spreading it through the air. Like it is specifically her interaction through like fecal matter and things like that, or her own bodily fluids that is then getting onto foods that people are eating. Like it's a body fluid transmission thing, not like now you have typhoid. I had to sprinkle in a little bit of jokes there. Further, dead. You should see what I did to the servants.
They love my peach sorbet.
Further, and you're gonna kind of freak when I tell you this detail. Am I gonna tell you it early? Am I telling you a little early? No, I'm not. Yay!
Fuck.
I'm telling you right on time. Yes. Yay. Okay, great.
Cool.
This is funny. Second, there is increasing confusion as to what law Mary has even broken, let alone been found guilty for.
Yeah.
And there is real concern that they have completely ignored like habeas corpus, and a writ of habeas corpus, which is like, hey, you have to prove why you're holding this person, or you need to release them.
Will you explain habeas corpus and writ of habeas corpus?
If we believe, let me change that again. If your legal representative in the U.S. criminal justice system believes you're being detained by law enforcement without just cause or explanation, they can file a writ of habeas corpus, which is basically like, law enforcement, you have to name specifically why this person is detained, and like how that either helps public safety, or like how it's like what they're charged with something. You can't just hold on to them indefinitely with no reason. And if you can't provide a reason that a judge agrees with, you have to release them.
After like 48 hours or something, right? Yeah.
That's why habeas corpus is such a big part of the American justice system, is because it's like the one thing that stops authoritarian governments who barely got elected in the first place from like mass locking up, like, I don't know, governors of states to disagree with. So they
Super important
file
stuff.
a writ of habeas corpus because Mary has a lawyer.
Yeah.
And that lawyer absolutely is being paid by William Randolph Hearst, Patty Hearst's grandfather.
And also boss of Luella Parsons. God, the universe we build is so rich.
There's 8 people in American history, turns out.
So Lord Byron, not in America, but still a big part of it for some reason.
See,
William Randolph Hearst.
what was the motivation here was William Randolph Hearst's New York newspapers characterized themselves as the advocate for the downtrodden and the working poor, which was fancy words for Irish.
Yeah.
And her name is Mary Mallon. And the case is that this hardworking Irish woman is now being put through the ringer from an unfeeling, unlistening, authoritative government. And so by getting her a lawyer, he can keep her case in the news because she will have a case. And he can keep selling newspapers to his 1.25 million predominantly Irish readers.
Crazy. I wish we had something like that today.
6 decades later, his granddaughter will hold up a bank. And we have a 2-part series on that too. I saw that and I was like, bitch. Like I'm like doing that teacher thing where you like lick your finger before you handle the papers. Yeah. I'm like, yum.
Yeah. There's some names that you just come across where you're like, oh, fuck no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There was a second where I was like, wait, is this grandpapa? Or is this dad? And so then I looked up when Pa was born and it was after Mary Mallon. And I was like, okay,
it's
so
grandpapa.
Incredible. The last most important detail to all of this that will really kind of push the case over the edge is that at this point, the concept of asymptomatic carriers is spreading wildly in the medical community and they're starting to test for it. Yeah. And they have identified in New York State alone up to 50 other silent carriers, which is the word they used. Yeah. And now modern projections assume that up to 4% of people that contract typhoid will stay contagious as a silent carrier for the rest of their life.
That's wild.
None of them are locked up. It is
crazy superpower.
Only Mary Mallon, who is quarantined on this
Trump
island.
in a room with those people.
With a couple of silent carriers. It'll kill him. What if he is actually just...
what if he is the silent killer?
What if he is Grandpapa Typhoid? and they now speak in one singularity? they just open their mouth and it's typhoid.
I have a fucking nightmare about that.
Did you know I'm a creative person?
He is Grandpapa Typhoid.
24 hours ago, I was in a hot tub in the mountains being like, la da da. And now I'm like, singularity killer disease.
Yeah, your life is crazy.
It's good if you can get it, though.
Yeah, I know.
And so she's imprisoned in 1908. 1907, 1908. She's released in 1910. So she spends like 2.5 years in quarantine.
2.5 years?
Correct. And when she is released, she has to sign an affidavit, which is basically like a promise with the police.
No.
For those of you who don't know. Well, it's like kind of good.
Okay.
Her affidavits are 2 things. I will stop working as a cook because she keeps handling uncooked food that is giving people typhoid.
That seems fair, actually.
And I will, second, adopt the hygiene regimen you have told me to do to help stop the spread of typhoid.
Okay.
Reasonable asks from a person who is absolutely capable of spreading typhoid.
Yeah.
And who, at the time, they kind of had the research to be able to prove that she was.
The first affidavit, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. The second one... Affidavit. No, not affidavit.
Affidavit.
Affidavit. You said affidavit.
Which was so much closer than affidavit, which sounds like a Harry Potter curse.
Affidavit. Have you seen the video
of
the actor who plays Ron Weasley, Rufus, something, whatever? He's at a gas station and he sees someone filming him and he goes, "Expensive petroleum." And he puts something in his car.
No, you have very different For You pages than me. What were you going to say about the affidavit?
Oh, the second one that's like, you will adopt the hygiene regimen of what we have taught you is just like triggering that little thing in me that's like, I will not do what you tell me to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's washing your hands after you poop. So like
I know, but now I don't want to do it if I have to sign something from the police.
Hey, listener, I'm about to say something that's a little gross. And it's gross enough that I'm giving you a trigger warning. It's obviously having to deal with like kind of fecal matter. So plus 30 now if you're like, I don't want to. Plus 30 now. What if you found out the thing that made her vegetables salty was her shit fingers? I thought about that so many times when writing this story.
Why do you think fecal matter is salty?
I don't know, but it just kind of felt right. Like certainly savory. Certainly savory.
No, I'm actually so hung up on that. You're like, poopy salty.
Well, I mean, like, there's literally no way it's sweet, and then it's like maybe it's umami, but like
it's none of those things. It's something that we're not supposed to eat.
Right. Here's the thing: I wouldn't know, and that's important too. But I'm like,
but you're just assuming that it's salty.
I'm just assuming that like she was a good enough cook. People liked what she prepared. What if you found out her secret recipe was that she didn't wash her hands?
Then typhoid would be great.
You're like, that's my cost for a French chef.
I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this just to be a bitch.
I'm going to let you find out later when you read the notes the title of this next chapter. But title of the next chapter.
Oh.
Now a free woman, Mary takes up the work as a laundry worker, a job that earned her $20 a month.
Like nothing compared to what she was making.
By comparison, being a chef at these homes made her $50 a month.
Oh.
She is making essentially 40% of what she was before.
Oh, God.
She signed an affidavit that said she would.
That's how I read it!
Affidavit that said she would not work in kitchens anymore. So she didn't. Yeah. She starts working as a laundry worker, immediately scalds her arm, and the wound becomes infected. And she can't work at all for 6 months.
Oh, my God.
By the time the wound is healed, Mary is incredibly impoverished as a result.
Yeah.
She goes back to cooking.
I can't blame her, to be totally honest.
You're going to love the final chapter, which is up next. You're going to love the final chapter.
I mean, it's every man for himself in this capitalist hellscape.
She is no longer able to get hired by affluent families, but hotels, hospitals, and communal kitchens are willing to hire her.
Holy shit.
Almost everywhere she works, typhoid breaks out.
Yeah.
And there are at least 2 deaths that occur after her release from quarantine that are tied to the outbreaks at places she worked at.
Yikes. That's tough.
And because outbreaks break out so quickly, Mary leaves so quickly and uses a bunch of different fake names to get hired too, because again,
especially
there's no
now
internet.
She knows.
Right. And basically George Soper and also Dr. Sarah Josephine Baker find out pretty quickly that she's been released, and there's immediately typhoid outbreaks, and they're trying to track her down, but she is moving so much and she is changing her name.
She has to take care of herself.
Correct. George Soper ends up getting into this case so deeply, he can spot her handwriting. They're like, well, this was Jane Magdenberg, and he's like, that's Mary Mallon, and he was like able to spot it instantly.
Men need hobbies. I'm sorry.
She's also killing people.
Okay, but like also hear me out. Hear me out, all right? Yeah, she's killing people unintentionally, but also these people locked her up for 2 years.
No, not the people that are dying. The other people.
The other people. There was no support from like the higher ups or the powers that be, right? They detained her essentially unlawfully. They then quarantined her for like 2.5 years. And then they let her go with these rules that just basically told her, hey, you can't make any fucking money now. She gets injured. She's even more of a liability. She gets completely impoverished. She does the only thing that she can in that moment is continue to cook. And now these people are like, the spinster must die.
Yeah. So you're not wrong. And this is why I said at the end of chapter 1, this is a woman that I was told as a child, she's just a supervillain, a callous supervillain. And once you get to know her story, you're like, I get it, right? And also kind of feels like the cat's out of the bag. The title of this chapter is Her Second Quarantine.
You got me.
So she's on the run from 1910 to 1915 until eventually they track her down. They find out she's visiting a friend in Long Island and camp out. And that's how they catch her. And it's actually really sad. They immediately throw her back on North Brother Island. She is immediately quarantined again.
Like, what was she supposed to do?
Right. Mary would spend the rest of her life on North Brother Island. However, 3 years into her second quarantine, health officials began letting her make day trips to the mainland. So she simply had to reside on North Brother Island, but she could still go into the city, which was kind of their way of making sure she wasn't working as a cook in the city, but like she could still visit the city. And on North Brother Island, she was given a 1-story cottage. And then in 1925, given work in the medical lab on the island, where she helped clean bottles and write down recordings because she's semi-literate.
Okay.
Obviously, not her preferred life choice.
No.
But very notably.
But at least at that point, they're offering her an alternative where she can make a livelihood.
Right. And also very notably, a lot fewer legal cases during the second quarantine.
Yeah. It's just like... the first one, you can't just fucking do that to people, man.
Her life, okay, I'm going to read this last sentence, and then the last chapter is, as always, legacy. And then we can talk about it. In 1925, she was hired by the physician on the island, Dr. Alexandra Blavatsky, to wash bottles and write down recordings. She passed away in 1938 at the age of 69.
So how long was that since her second quarantine started?
From 1915 to 1938.
Holy shit, okay.
However, notably, and this is a little sad, she did suffer a stroke in 1932 that left her pretty significantly paralyzed. And then it was good that she was on an island where they could take care of her, because that was kind of realistically not care she would be expected to get as a cook, right? Like if she was still working and living in New York. So for the last 17 years where she was active and mobile and had full range of her abilities, she lived on the island.
I mean, that I appreciate that they gave her housing and a job.
Yeah.
That does settle something.
Well, also to live in New York and to be a woman born to impoverished, fever-stricken Irish parents in between two famines, to end your life in a cottage
on an island
in New York, while not how you would write it, people very close to Mary had much more undignified deaths and lives that were less recorded, whose names have been lost. And love it or hate it, Typhoid Mary, Mary Mallon, added significantly to our understanding of the transmission of diseases.
Yeah.
So that gets into legacy. Like all the people I enjoy covering on our show, Mary's legacy is complicated.
Yeah.
And certainly has more nuance than the portrait I had of her when I first started researching the story. I knew her as a cavalier, unclean woman who spread disease because she did not care, intentionally malice, or criminally uninformed. Typhoid Mary. Her name sounds like a supervillain.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is only a fraction of the truth. First, there isn't universal agreement that Mary was unhygienic, especially given the standards at the time. Mary could have extensively washed her hands and still been able to accidentally pass along typhoid. In fact, Anthony Bourdain, who wrote one of the two books that I read, claimed that it's a universal practice for cooks to rise to the level of cleanliness of the kitchen that they walk into. Right. So in other words, Mary didn't make any places more dirty, but she was probably walking into pretty horrifically gross places already.
Yeah.
It also calls into question how much we can expect a person like Mary to believe sanitation worker George Soper when they first meet. He's claiming an alien concept about germs and silent carriers.
He sounded like a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
That's so funny.
To people like Mary, disease was simple.
Yeah.
Filthy people got it, and then they died. To Mary, she was neither filthy, nor had she ever had typhoid.
Yeah.
Finally, there is that period between her two quarantines where she promises to never cook again and then basically goes right back to cooking, causing outbreaks so frequently she has to switch jobs. Surely that is a clear enough sign to Mary that she needs to stop. And while I fully agree with that, I mean, people did die.
Yeah.
I also think we need to consider the world of 1910. There is no unemployment.
Yeah.
There is no Social Security or food stamps. There's no Medicare. And the concept of retirement does not exist for
Especially
the working
for a
poor.
single woman.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who's at this point, most of the family who would take care of her are probably gone.
Yeah.
Mary has no family, no support system. As has been true her entire life, Mary can only rely on herself. Even with the salary of a cook, she was living in poverty. For Mary, the equation might have come down to simple survival, and cooking was the only way she could make enough to survive. New science, disease, affidavits, and death be damned. She was Typhoid Mary, and she would survive.
Oh,
And then I have a couple photos.
she would survive.
So that first one is like some of the press coverage, and you notice the meatballs she's putting into a pan are skulls.
Oh my God.
But even then, the news coverage is like kind to her. Like she's
It is, yeah.
Go ahead and describe the like first photo.
Like, it's a photo of a woman cooking for sure, and it's like the action she's doing is like cracking an egg over a skillet, but it's like clear that it's skulls, and then there's like lines indicating her like breathing or something on them. Probably
but she has like a nice hair.
She has nice hair.
She's clean.
She's wearing jewelry or like earrings, I think, and yeah, she looks clean. Like, she doesn't like. By all accounts of political cartoons, this is very kind.
Comes off good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is a picture of a bunch of people in like a hospital bed.
The closest one is Mary, and that's during her first quarantine. So
she looks pissed.
Well, she's literally sharing a room with people who are dying all around her,
sick,
and
yeah.
she has no privacy at all whatsoever.
I mean, I would also be pissed. She does look like she's like, there's like a fur blanket on her that I'm a little jealous of, like, right in this moment. The next picture is of a house.
Abandoned building with vines on it.
Yes.
That is what's left of the hospital on North Brother Island because it gets abandoned.
I mean, it's very picturesque from this distance.
I would love to explore it. Would not want to be there at night.
No, it's haunted.
Yep.
120%. I feel like M from And That's Why We Drink has like probably covered it.
Probably.
But there's like trees literally taller than the top of this building. Like, it's basically a part of this forest. And then at the bottom, I believe, is her cottage,
Yes.
I assume. It's a very cute little...
It's charming.
It looks like maybe it's like a 2-room kind of little house, but it has like a bunch of windows. And
Mary would have lived long enough to see New York City really go full electric. And
that's so cool.
from her little island there on the shore, she would have had at night probably gorgeous views. Even if it was against her will, there are uglier prisons in the world.
That was very poetic of you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God.
And also, like, she refused to stop doing the one thing that killed people.
Yes. And I can't really fault her for it. I'm being totally honest. I want to be mad about the people dying, but they're nameless and they're faceless, and therefore they don't exist to me.
Well, and it's also like, I do wonder at what point should we expect Mary to have accepted the science? Or, I mean, how human is it that if your brain doesn't want to accept a concept because it's viewed as a threat, it will build more and more elaborate reasons as to why you don't need to accept that?
I think, honestly, even if she had accepted it as a science, I can still understand her going back to cooking because she had to. Like, it's survival of the fittest. Like, what is she going to do?
And maybe you tell yourself every time you take a new job, I'm going to wash my hands more. I'm going to be more careful.
Yeah,
I'm only going to work with cooked foods.
Do everything in my power not to do this, but it's still going to happen, you know? And so, like...
And, like, that doctor's probably a quack. Like, you know, like, there's a...
You can talk yourself out of it.
100% you can, especially when you're starving.
And especially if
when you're cold.
you've been detained for 2.5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So Typhoid Mary's case is super interesting because everyone's like, oh, she like spread all this disease and like she should have known better and she was warned. But also it's
she shouldn't have known better. There was no reason for her to know better.
Listen, the fact that Typhoid Mary was also known as Mary Mallon, was literate enough to like read recipes is like impressive. This is an accomplished woman who in many ways is accomplished because she had to, right?
And you also have to remember that in such a classist society as that era of New York City, when you're educated and you're writing in a way that you feel like lower class people can't understand.
Right, exactly.
There's a reason it's difficult to read some of those papers. There's a reason it's difficult to read academia, like even today. like it was for a reason. And
Right.
so just because she's literate enough to read recipes does not mean she's literate enough to understand science and like scientific journals.
And it's a larger statement too that there were no other professions open to her that could sustain her.
Yeah.
Even the jobs she does pursue pose a threat to her health and well-being. Like she gets injured from laundering,
Yeah.
and still views work as a crucial part of her identity. To where when she's on North Brother Island, and in 1925 she'll be, let me do quick math, 65 years old.
Oh my
She starts
God.
working for the physician. In
Wow.
1925 she's 7 years away from that stroke,
Yeah.
and she's like, I'd love to wash these bottles. I'd love to record this kind of stuff. Like
That's so cool.
this,
for
yeah.
her.
This is I hope so at least. I mean,
I
obviously
hope
I can't
she
interview
felt like
her.
it was cool.
Right.
Like now, given our like current lens, we can see the systematic oppression that she had suffered and like probably the unfair standards that she was like needing to adhere to. But like I hope at least in her later years she found peace in what she was doing.
And I also think, not to like tie Typhoid Mary's case, also known as Mary Mallon, to like the COVID response, but I think it also continues to serve as an example that regardless of the era, like people get concerned when it comes to their health.
Yeah.
And the thing that they're going to feel most comfortable about is if they can believe it's actually not going to happen to them.
Yep.
And so when public health officials communicate health needs to the public, they need to, I think, be increasingly aware that whatever ask you are making, even it is for the common good, is going to come with like a I'm scared response. And while I am frustrated that extended family members in my own life felt that like their experience as corn farmers made them more qualified than Anthony Fauci on vaccines, it's also like a response that I understand if I don't agree with. And then the next question needs to be, how do we activate communities that are going to be scared enough to reject science?
It's true. That is a really hard, because there's this woman that I have started seeing on my Instagram Reels like Discover page, and she condescends to men.
I love that.
Just so beautifully. And so she just posts like recordings of her TikTok lives that she does. And these I've only seen videos of her talking to men. So there's probably videos of her talking to women and non-binary or whatever. But there's these videos of these men, and she always starts out like they'll say something and she's like, hold on. I have a few rules. And she has these glasses and she's like, she'll get really close to the camera. She's like, I have a few rules for when you're talking to me. We believe in facts over feelings. So if you're going to cite like an article or a scientific fact, then you need to send us the link to the journal, the like page number, the paragraph number. She has all these things, and then inevitably the man will start talking, and she'll like say something, and they'll be like, "Well, no, I don't really," and she'll be like, "Hold on," and she'll pick something up, and she's like, "Is this a spoon?" And he's like, I mean, I think it. No, you can't think it is. Is it a spoon? If we can't agree on what facts are, I am not interested in wasting my time and talking to you.
So she parodies Charlie Kirk.
So fun. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
In just a beautiful way. In like such a Miss Frizzle kind of way. It's
I think you and I
incredible.
watch different Miss Frizzle, but I still love it.
No, it's just like the way she like handles herself. That's very like she could be teaching kindergartners right now, like get on her magic school bus, bitch. You'll find out what a spoon is.
Why does that feel like a thread?
It is.
But that's the tale of Mary Mallon.
Yeah. She survived.
She did. She lives on.
Yeah.
And even against her will was actually a huge contributor to like modern medical science.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that the woman that treated her, Dr. Sarah Josephine Baker, is like famous, and you had never heard of George Soper before ever. And
I love when men
so
lose
few
it.
of our stories tell enough that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, and a Patty Hearst reference.
Yeah, incredible.
Lesbians, this story had it all. I had faked that I might be doing a murder mystery at the very start. Grant does true crime. Who knows?
I was actually going to be so mad if you stole my shtick for this week or this theme.
Yeah. So join us on social media. Write in with sickening or red-handed stories to the podcast website, wellilaughed.com, or the email, wellilaughdpod@gmail.com. Find additional content on Patreon, and you can always request us on Cameo, where we would love to explain to your family why you just can't make the upcoming Thanksgiving trip. Or use us to invite people to your Halloween party. That sounds fun.
That actually does. Well, Halloween has passed by now. It's 2 weeks after.
Well,
I did just look at that. It is 2 weeks to Thanksgiving.
It would have been a lot of fun.
Next year. You can record us now for next year.
Good. Save it in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Rate us.
Yeah. And then we are taking a holiday break. And so if you would like to vote on what episodes we air during our holiday break, head to our website, willowlaugh.com, and there's a link to the survey at the top of the page.
Amazing. All right. Bye, friends.
Goodbye. Love you.